I'm going to talk about my perspective as an artist who probably started off in a very conservative way, being a studio-based artist, working with print media to start with, from the age of about 14, to then I went to fine art school to do art history, and then I went to art school to learn glassmaking, so very much craft, 2D, 3D, and after that, as my teaching life moved on, I started thinking about environmental sensitivity in my practice, and also that meant that I had to really think hard if I was going to make something, and ended up being that I found working with organisations one way of really expanding my worldview. So I love factories since I was a child, going to factories and seeing how things are made, and the people in the factory are very similar to artists. They like to play with materials and invent things, and they have so many things to play with there. So I ended up spending a lot of my time in factories. And that made me think about how artists work in factories. So part of this discussion is about how, as an artist, you can expand your practice into an organisational framework, and how that could be beneficial to both the business and the artist. And when I say artist, I mean creative practitioner. So I find that a broad term is very good for me, because I don't want to box myself into a label, and then I miss opportunities.
In summary, this is a list of the sort of things I describe myself as, but including everything else that I am interested in. And I really want to think about how this group of skills and this interest can work in combination with organisational communities. So I just want to get a feel, because we knew that there weren't going to be like 100 people at this talk. I want to get a feel. We did a workshop with UNESCO on Wednesday, and this was the list of the people who came to that talk. So you can see that there are a lot of crossovers for cultural discussions between business and the creative world. And this was sort of a piece of evidence for that. So just going to ask you a little bit about your orientation for coming to the talk, what you're thinking about, how you come to this space. You might be a creative practitioner, or you might be from an organisational background. So I'm just going to ask you briefly.
I work for the United Nations.
Yes.
And quite involved in making music.
Yes. Okay, so non-government organisation as well as creative practitioner and culturally engaged person. Yes?
Unfortunately, I'm not an artist.
Yes.
Teacher.
Academic. Yes. Yep.
Because of my interest in
Yep.
cultural heritage.
Yep. Cultural heritage and education. And you? Oh. Okay. Okay, so you are a learner, which is wonderful. I think we're all learners here today. Anyone that's going to give up a Saturday is a learner. Thank you, and congratulations on your graduation. So another cultural framework being Japanese and Vietnam. Yep. And you?
Thank you. Hello. I'm based from sales marketing, like commercial, and we're working for like art installation and luxury events and weddings. But the purpose of I'm coming here from Ho Chi Minh City to here.
Wow.
Is actually we are on the process of creating a Vietnamese creators communities in Ho Chi Minh cities, and the purpose of that community is to create a creative ecosystem.
Yes.
So that means we want to honoring the the products and services of Vietnamese creators, and we want to transform the definition of made in Vietnam to make by Vietnam. So,
Okay.
so that's why I'm here
Great.
to explore more on how we can mapping the benefit, the chain of creative product and services.
Okay.
To
We're going to talk about it today.
Thank
So
you.
you're like a bit of a creative glue. You're a
Yes,
creative glue between
yes.
business
That's right.
and the creative industry.
That's
Awesome.
right.
Yep.
Thank you.
What about you two?
Hi everyone. I'm working in a creative agency. I'm communication strategist,
Oh,
and
good.
we work with NGO and
Yes.
non-profit organizations
Yes.
in communication.
Yep.
Our expertise is communication, and we really interested. I really interested in today's topic because we are a creative business.
Yes.
And we really want to explore how others apply their creativity in their business.
Yeah.
And we also want to explore how others use creativity in for NGO or for non-profit
Yep.
to promote their cause.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. There's one special thing that you do is you're a storyteller. So we're going to come across that
Yeah.
again today. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm working with him.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm a,
No.
I'm a designer. So short story about me. I just make stuff.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Me too. Okay. I love that. If you can boil it down to 2 words, that's really awesome. But also, I'm sure you do lots of other things. Yes. What about you?
Hi, I'm a graduate student, yes, and majoring in multimedia communications.
Yep.
Um,
Another storyteller.
well, I had 3 times transferring from, I had 3 times transferring from this university to another university, and gradually I realized that I really care about traditional types or forms of Vietnamese theater.
Great.
Yes, and I really care about how to balance of business and to conserve the traditional art.
Yes.
Yes, and
Great.
to nurture it for the next generation, as I'm a young generation.
Oh, wow. What a vision. You have a vision. You really clearly explained that
Thank
to
you
us.
so much.
Thank you. When you start a sentence with, I really care, that's a really good sentence. Yes.
I'm not an artist also.
Yes.
Yeah, and I work for agency too. And the reason why I'm here is because I am interested in how we can apply our creativity in our daily work. Yeah,
Yes.
because my work is quite commercial.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a very good. We need the mix of textures in the room. So thank you for coming along, and also part of our work is looking at creativity is actually a verb. It's a collective verb, and my belief and most of the research, contemporary research on creativity, is that it's within everyone, but sometimes it's hidden. So we use the phrase intrinsic creativity, but we work to make it explicit in every person. So yeah, all right, thank you. Just a couple more people. I think this is a very valuable exercise.
Hi, I'm a design teacher.
Great.
And I think we just came along to see what's happening in the wider creative space.
Do you work in Hanoi? Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Oh, good. Thank you. This is a little network of its own, right here. So we'll be able to talk with each other very soon. And we've got 3 people left. Yep. Hello?
Maybe it's not working.
Oh yeah, give it a go. Speak right into it. No?
Hello. Okay. I'm an undergraduate majoring in information technology, but beside that, later in the evening. I also work as a performing artist. Yeah, we are a group of like contemporary dancers. And well, in the near future, I want to like explore the overlap between technology as well as the creativity. And I came here like because I want to find a ways to do both tech and art in a sustainable way, because we need to care about the business if we want to do it in the long term. Yeah.
That idea of sustaining yourself.
Now we have one microphone to share.
All right, okay. I'm just going to ask these people.
Hi. This is quite random. This is quite random because I'm an applied mathematics first year. Yeah, I agree. Very, very creative. Yeah. I thought the title of this talk is pretty snappy and catchy. So yeah. So I invited my friends. Yeah, they invited me too. So.
No, I'm not. I'm a student majoring in communication, but also I practice acting and photography, and I found the same interest in the topic also, and I do think that today we're gonna have a lot of discussion about creativity and stuff, because like in Hanoi itself, the context we have, there are a lot of opportunity and resources about creativity and the public resources for people, and I find it's interesting to have a discussion with everyone about that. Yeah, thank you.
She's also pretty great with theater too.
Oh no, I'm not.
Oh, hi. I'm a graphic designer. I've just graduated from RMIT. And I am in the phase of finding a way to kickstart my career in in every aspect. I'm having trouble getting into organization and all. And then I am also looking for collaboration between my friends, between all of the creative practice in graphic design, and so it is quite a lot. So I'm here.
Some people are already involved in the business world, some have just graduated, so we call those emerging practitioners, emerging creative practitioners, and other people from different disciplines. So the texture and the tapestry of all of us is going to be a great mix today. So thanks, everybody. All right. I think that's really important to understand your positionality. I use that word a lot. So you know about me and I know about you. And, my work is to try and loosen the barriers between creative industry communities and other industry communities. And I have a phrase, all industry is creative industry. So if you think about not just your specific pool of discipline, if you think that every organization is an opportunity for you, that's how I do it. And so I never know where my next project's going to come from, but I'm very open to that. An example, this is one of the projects where I set up my own. I do a lot of self-organized residencies. So if you're a theatre person, you can do it. If you're a graphic designer, you can do it. If you're, even if you're multimedia, performance. This was something today. I'm thinking the images aren't maybe going to fit on the screen. I'm not sure, but basically we went on Wednesday to have a look at this beautiful installation. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but it's a great way of thinking about how an artist can walk into a space and then involve their own creativity within the building. So this was a chandelier, fairly classic chandelier, and it's had a fairly big major makeover with a very light touch of light materials. I'm not sure how recycled they are, but they're very much expanding the concept of the light into the space. And thinking about finding partners, so the other day we met Vu and Taklean and their daughter Chi, and you just don't know where your relationships are going to come from. So these people are bankers and venture capitalists. So really from now on, from today on, whoever you meet could be an opportunity for you to then introduce yourself to someone else to get you into an organisation. We just have to be thinking about being open about that. So I'm just wondering, when I say artists, I mean creative practitioners. So if you had to describe the key attributes of an artist, what would they be? What do you think? Just one word. You just have to say one word. What's the key attribute of an artist? What are artists good at?
New things.
New, okay, novelty. So we're good at creating and being novel. Anyone else? What are artists good at?
I think it's open-minded.
Being open-minded and receptive to new environments and looking at things from different perspectives.
Maybe patient.
Oh, yes. We have to be very patient, especially when working with organizations. And you?
I think it could be consistent.
Yes. Consistent is a really good one too. Oh my God, I have to tell you about that, but that's another story. There's lots of things. I showed Lee the other day this beautiful article by Woodward and Funk from 2010. It's called The Artist Leader. And you will find that the organizational studies, so the discipline of business and organizational studies, writes about artists as being a really good example of a leader in an organization. And I was like, what? We're good at leadership? Because usually in the creative world, we don't want to be in charge, we want to be all equal, no one wants to be the boss of anyone else. So we don't talk about leadership very much. But in the business world, they look at what we do and go, wow, we would love some of those skills. And some of the skills they talk about are things you've mentioned already: aesthetic judgment and perception, just being able to sense things. You know, when you walk into a room as a creative person, you're like, ooh, the vibe is a bit. And other people walk into the room and the vibe goes straight over their head, but creative people can sense things like that. That's good leadership. The narrative, we've got a few, I won't get you to put your hand up, but all the narrative storytellers in the room. We make meaning, so trying to understand things, unpacking things, and we learn with our bodies, like we develop skills with our bodies, and we have that sort of experience and memory to draw on. So embodied knowledge is really important. And being reflective, so I talk about Aristotle, he has this action and reflection cycle. There's that idea of praxis. So you can be actively making. If you keep doing that leaning in and make all the time, it's great, but you only really improve when you lean back to reflect and then lean back in to make again. So it's the action and reflection cycle that is developed by Sean as well in a more contemporary philosophical framework that really improves your practice. So working with an organisation, going home to the cafe and writing out your notes and going, what happened today, and then going back in to improve what you've done is often what I do. We're very adaptable, we're very flexible, we're very resilient. We are so many things. If you can write a list of all your creative capacities, any organisation would just love to have you. If you look up the list of the top 10 skills that organisations want, you'll find yourself on that list. And so it's a matter of being explicit, saying it out loud, or being more open about what your skills are, rather than hiding your little specialness inside you and not telling anyone. And collaborative visionary. So more and more these days, we're very good at collaborating. So for the artist, it's pretty simple. I'm just going to go with the yellow. Basically, you get new audiences. It's outside the white box, so I operate outside a white box notion of a gallery. We develop skills, new skills that we didn't have before. We can access free stuff, resources, and often recycled materials. And it gives you a creative freedom to invent new practices that you didn't have before. For the businesses themselves, if you're trying to make a case or move into a business situation, you can tell them that you innovate, that you're really good at solving problems. And we talk about the arts degree at my university. We say that they're a triple threat. So the first thing is that they know how to make. Second thing is they know how to talk about it. And the third thing is that they know how to think conceptually. So everybody wants someone like that in their organization. They're not scared to talk. They're thinking really critically, and they know how to make stuff. So thinking about enhancing the branding of a company, they want you to be authentic with your collaboration because it makes them look good. So they also love it. Most of my work is about working with the community from the CEO right through the organizational chain. The security guard is usually my favorite person in the company. They're the ones that know everything, and they can open all the doors. They've got all the keys. So creative input can inspire teams. It motivates people. So when you're working with a company and they say, oh, that's really interesting, that interest is related to motivation. Motivation is directly related to creativity, and creativity is directly related to innovation. So I call that the interest-innovation loop. And then you've got this idea of cultural capital. So most companies now have a corporate social responsibility office, and you can directly contact that office and work with them quite a lot. So the idea of when to engage, it's not every company that's going to be a good fit for you. That is the most important message. And I'm thinking about this idea of most of the artists that I introduce this idea to, they talk about, they're just going to use me. Even on Wednesday when we talked about it, we want to engage with these organizations, but we don't want to just be a one-off. Some of them said that, but we also just don't want to be used for our skills and then it's all about the company and nothing about me. So when you're assessing a company, it's good to think about aligning the values. Companies these days, the big secret that I uncovered a few years ago is they're really into environmental sensitivity and they're really into community engagement. Artists are really into environmental sensitivity and into community engagement. So if you can find a company that you can align with on that values level, they're not really going to instrumentalize you as much. So looking for mutual benefit, looking for the respect of artistic integrity. One of the professors of business said to me, because we used to teach in the MBA, the EMBA in my school, Jane, don't get them to stop you from doing what you want to do. Don't compromise your creative integrity. Don't change it. Just hold the line. And they usually come across because they can see that that's your limit. So showing your boundaries, don't agree to everything and fall in and go, oh, now I feel so compromised. So it's a little bit about, he had to give me that permission to hold my ground and do the crazy stuff, because that's the magic that they really want, but you've got to sort of give yourself permission. Yep. There's more. Authentic collaboration. There was one company that I thought was like this, one really large beverage company that is not Pepsi, and another really large company that is a clothing firm in Vietnam, and I had to look deeply into their corporate responsibility and the ratings for those companies, so you can look it up and see whether they're really worthwhile collaborating with, whether they have good a good critical approach to being sustainable or environmentally sensitive. And then sometimes I just pull back. Someone might want to work with me, but then I check them out and I might just gently pull back and not work with them because they're like not a good fit for me. Even if they're the biggest company in the world, it's just not going to make you feel good. So that's a complex space, and some organizations are still working with those big companies. they might think about how they compromise to do that, but it is worth having a think about it, yeah. Oh, did I do all of those? Communications, being transparent. I'll talk more about that in a little while. And just being culturally and ethically sensitive. Again, it's about scrutinising the company. This is homework that you do. They're going to do their homework on you, but you can do homework on them as well. And you can even say to them, I've been checking you out. You know, this isn't just me, you can have me, I'm free, I just want to work with you. The more you show them that you're checking them out as well, it's really, really helpful because they're like, oh, you know. This is probably an important one to think about. There are specific stages of working with an organisation. So I'm thinking of our colleague who's the graduate from graphic design at RMIT. So for you, and for many of you, walking into an organisation, the worst thing you can do is email them because they're just going to not answer your email. If you're an artist, there's a trick I use where I call the technical salesperson because I often work with glass factories, so I don't call the salesperson because you're not a sales, so they don't want to talk to you. But the technical salesperson is in the lab, they're mad about materials, they love innovation, they talk your language. So if you can get a meeting or you talk to them, they're the ones you want to contact with. The scoping phase is checking them out for their ethics, but also you might want to just go there, like walk into the company, talk to the receptionist, get a feel for it and just say, oh, who's the technical salesperson? If you ring up and you say, I'm an artist on the phone, they're going to imagine all the things people imagine about being an artist, which can sometimes be a bit crazy. But look at all of us. We're very, very easily acceptable in an office environment, and it doesn't really matter. They just have to see the whites of your eyes and the way that you present yourself. And you don't have to get dressed up. Just be yourself and walk in there and be in person. It helps a lot. So the scoping is about going there for a short period. I want to be an artist in this space. Let me come and visit you for a week, if it's another country or another part of Vietnam. Come and work with them for a couple of days to get to know each other, and then go away. So they have a good experience with you. They know that they can work with you, and then you plan to come back with them later because you can spend that time thinking, okay, what's going to make it work for me? What do I need to prepare? What do I need to bring? What space is going to be good to work in? So the scoping phase is a little period before the real period where you're doing the engagement. And I think it's a building trust phase. So seeing each other's capacities, making friends, and then when you get back there, you're like, oh, we remember you. We remember you. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's good to see you back again. And then it's step by step. Getting in, so the initial engagement, I get to know the whole company. I ask for an organisational chart. I get to know the cleaner, the security, the sales team. I get to know who doesn't want to know me. There's always a group of people who are like, oh my God, you know, this is a complete waste of time. I make diary notes of all of that, and I make myself in the beginning very small. I don't run around going, I'm the artist. I'm just being very calm and quiet and just checking everybody out. So I just do things at my desk, quite small, and then build from there. And by the end, I'm running around like crazy, but yeah. So starting very quietly is good advice, I think. Getting on, people will start coming to you and asking you things and showing you stuff and giving you ideas. That's usually what happens. Oh, have you shown Jane that? Oh, Jane, look what we found. So people start then, and I turn up when they turn up. So if they start at 7:30 in a factory, I'm there at the same time. I don't rock in at 11 with a coffee in my hand. I always do their time, and I eat in the canteen, which is super fun. So I always go to lunch at the same time, and I eat with everyone, and I try and be what they are, like just a worker like them. Reflecting back, so thinking about, at night, I just usually write in my diary about how it was today and how I can change it for the next day. And then leaving something emblematic behind, so in the War Remnants Museum, leaving a little painting, or leaving a design, or trying to fix something, or adding colour to something, or making a mural. There's all these ways that you can contribute. Say you did a performance or a dance, you might take a photo and you give them a framed photo and they put it in the staff canteen. It's sort of little things like that where they go, oh, I remember that time. So that when you come back, nobody's forgotten you. So the emblematic is really cool. So I'm just going to run you through a few examples. We're doing okay for time. I'm going to start from the very early one and then move through. This was images from a factory project we did in 2016, where we went to 7 factories and they just gave us all this free stuff, and then we made artworks about it. It's incredibly delicious what you can get if you're I'm a sculptor, but yeah, it was amazing. This project was the beginning of my factory engagement. So I went to Dayglow Colour in Cleveland, which was amazing. I went there twice. I went to Shot Glass in Germany. They make thin glass, like a piece of paper. I did a residency there, and I went to Radiant Colour, which is another fluorescent colouring company in Belgium. And I organised them. They weren't advertised. I just wanted to go there, so I talked them into having me. And the chief scientist or the technical salesperson was usually the point of contact. And they're very nervous about having you in the beginning, but I just took my time and wore them down a little bit. But yeah, so I ended up going back a couple of times to every place. So that's a bit of a proof of concept that I didn't wear out my welcome. And I always left with materials, like they loaded me up with all these beautiful fluorescent powdered colours, which I still use today. They're going to last me for the rest of my life. So that was a small office space. They're like, we haven't got a studio. And I'm like, that's okay, just give me a little desk. And then it really doesn't matter if you're not a hands-on artist. This can be any type of creative practice that you do. So I guess you have to think from your own position about what's possible. It could be that you're a theatre person where you're observing all the, come in, where you're observing all the, behaviours of the people, and you could write a little play, and then you could get all the people to act the play, and you could do it at a festival time. There's so much that you can play around with. This one was one in Vietnam that I showed you the materials for. So we did a proof of concept where we had, I think, about 30 students working with the materials from the factories. And that was great. And then we decided to try it with professional artists. So we had 7 professional artists connect with 7 factories, and they made an exhibition of work. Because it's one thing me doing it, but I have to prove the concept. So I did it with the students, and then I did it with professional artists. So in Vietnam, you have so many factories, you have so many organisations, and they're usually desperate to have creativity around in their factory. It raises the feelings of the workers. They feel awesome because you're there voluntarily. So they're like, this person, we respect them because they want to be here. We have to be here sometimes, but they really want to be here. So you're actually also not on a power level with anyone. You're not with the boss. You're not with anyone. You're just working right through all the levels of the organisation. So everybody finds you quite approachable. And they just love watching what you do. And the best thing is if they can start going home and telling their family about it, that means they're proud of work, they're proud of what's happening at work, and it does raise the well-being for the community. This is an example of a professor of design down in the University of Architecture in Ho Chi Minh City, Professor Chang. She's one of my buddies now. And she designed this new way. It was a raffia and ceramic factory. So she combined the techniques and made her own original technique, which then fed back into the company of a new way of connecting their 2 businesses together. So we just use it like a playpen. They give you stuff. They go, there's your corner. You have a play with it. She was a full-time academic. She would come and go, drop in, have a go, work with the makers, and she had an incredibly fun time. And she said to me, there's no way they're going to let you into all these factories, Jane. There's no way that the Vietnamese factories, you just can't get in the door of a lot of them. We got in the door of the people who print the all the Coach bags and all the Hermes bags, all the crazy high level, it's all high security. It was very fun. And you're not meant to take photos inside, so I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, we sort of sometimes did. Then this is another project which is going to be for next year, but another organisation I work with now are museums. So to me, it's just another factory. It's got, what's it got to offer me in terms of materials? The whole collection, thank you. It's got all the people. It's got all the space. They usually have more space than they need. So to me, I just treat it the same. Getting in, making the contact, making some sort of value exchange, sussing them out. Can I work with these people? And then sitting around going, what do you guys care about? And they tell me what they value. I'll show you an example. Just working with them, you as a creative person, you don't need to be the graphic designer. You've got enough skills without even going into your specialism to do this type of work. You can develop themes by just asking what's everyone interested in. You can gather stories of lived experience. So we work with the University of Culture and the University of Architecture. The architecture students design the exhibition. The University of Culture gather the data of stories from your grandmother's wartime cooking, the recipes, the materials. We have a Google Doc. 30 students are feeding all this information in. Then the museum gets all this info. There's no way they could have gathered it themselves. Then we're really into lo-fi, so we're not going to do a really flashy exhibition with lots of plastic. We're trying to think about how we can be environmentally sensitive, what we can recycle. And then we connect them with other museums around the world. So that's something I can do from my capacity. So there's sort of got to be, it's not just what do I get out of it, what can I offer as well. Here's another approach. Most of you who've just graduated or are involved in creative practices, this is what I call a mindfulness painting project. All of these people are at the Art of Management conference in Liverpool, and basically as an exercise in mindfulness, like how the world is complex and most people can paint from their childhood. So we bought the paint, we bought fruit and vegetables, and everybody sat quietly and painted the fruit in front of them. You didn't have to be an expert. I gave them like a 5-minute. We don't want you to be creative here. You're not trying to make up something new. You just need to paint what's in front of you. So not everybody can do that. No one's nervous after that because you're just looking at what you see and replicating it. And that just chilled everybody out. And then we made videos of the sound of them all chatting, what they talk about, and it's a way of building community. So I do this now with office workers in Vietnam. Just bust into their lunchtime, throw down the paints, get everybody out of their cubicles, and they sit down and they paint together, and it's hilariously fun, and they absolutely love it. So this is a model of something you can do to kick something off, to do something small and easy so that everyone's not freaked out, and then everyone will remember, oh, that Jane girl, we did that great workshop, and then you go, oh, now I've got another idea. So you can build the complexity just step by step. And you end up with, the emblem is I put one big white sheet of paper, so then I took it home, and they're like, oh, we want to make tea towels and things for our next conference, so they wanted to scan those images and build something memorable so that everyone would remember the conference before. Some of them were really lovely paintings. And this is another model. So using the mindfulness painting, we also got some interns, all the people into communications. We developed a social media platform, and we got kids, the community, from adults, we got design students, we got workers, to think about the idea of bamboo as a national symbol of resilience. we worked at the War Museum. There's a lot of trauma. If anyone's been down there, if you walk into the spaces, you walk out very, is a lot going on there. I always go like this with my tummy, but I sort of feel it there. I feel the trauma of it there. And we wanted to create an oasis outside in the corridor. So you're going in, you're seeing things I can't even tell you about. They're so full on. And then you're coming out. People come out crying, like they're bawling their eyes out. So we created all these paintings that we've gathered from the community of Bamboo as a respite area for the museum. And we wanted it for 4 weeks. And to talk them into it, it was a big deal. And it's still going on. It's in its now 4th month of extension. And last night I met a lady at dinner. I haven't told Lee. I met this lady and she said, oh, I saw this bamboo exhibition at the War Remnants Museum. I'm like, and I think she thought I was bullshitting her, but I said, oh, that's my exhibition. She's like, really? That was my favorite exhibition. And it was a very, very sweet story. Like completely chuffed. I haven't told anyone yet, but yeah, her name was Margot and she was from Michigan. It was awesome. She said it was so heavy in there, and then I walked out, and she said I loved it. So, yeah. And they put the work on the website. Like, it's not easy to sometimes talk yourself into working with an organisation that normally isn't used to collaborating with anyone, let alone an artist. They've never had an artist in residence before. They've never had an exhibition of adult works before. They've never talked about trauma before. They've never put anything on their website like this before. Then we had a symposium that talked about trauma and art and creativity. That's never happened before. And it's not that I'm into having everything for the first time, but it's very rewarding and feels really special. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if we've got time. Have we got time? How long have we got? 5? Oh, great. Okay, cool. All right. I don't know. Are you interested in doing a little interactive thingy? Because we could. Right. So, I think we're going to mix up the groups. And hello. I haven't met you. I'm Jane. Yeah. We're going to mix up the groups. So what I want to do, if anybody is in their mind thinking about themselves as a creative practitioner, can you stand up? Come on. You've already identified yourself, so. Okay. Come on, stand up. Do you feel like you're a creative practitioner? What about you two? Holy cow. If you're not, it's a worry if that's what you're doing for your day job. All right. Okay. All right, so all of you spread out on the tables behind. How many have we got? We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So we're going to do 4 tables of 4. So if all the creative practitioners spread out there and leave a space for everybody else, because that person, you're the mathematician. Can we just save you for a minute? I need you. You sit down, sweetheart. Okay, everybody, just go and sit at the tables, and we have 4 people on each table, but we're going to try 3 creative people on each table for a start. Yep, we're sort of making this up as we go along, but... Yep, let's go. That's it. Try and mix it up. So, we're using 4 tables, and we want 3 people on each table. We got it? Yep. Lee, you're in charge. Yep. So we've got 3 people on each table, pretty much. Okay, so do you want to go and join one group? You all go and join one group, and we'll see how we go. You might need to join. Just make sure you guys don't all sit on one table together. So go and spread yourselves out. Yep, you're going to join a group too. Yeah. Oh, no, it's important. Come on. We need you. You're the perspective. We need the various voices. It's okay. It's not hard. You too. Oh, now I made you sit down. You're not getting up. Here we go. There's a nice group. All right. Well, you two, why don't you join here? And you can come over here. There you go. Grab yourself a chair. All right, so you've got the different models that we talked about. Some of them, you might think about what was interesting about the different models. Was it working with an organisation in some way? It could be an artist in residence. It could be working in a factory. It could be working with a business organisation like an office scenario. Think about creating a scenario between you that you're going to develop as a project. And you're the team that's going to develop it, okay? So as a group, think about selecting a potential collaboration scenario. The way you can start, you're like, oh my God, how are we going to agree on this in 2 minutes flat? You're going to say which one was interesting, which model was interesting, which one did you find interesting? And you go around quickly and share that, and then you can start from there. So try and develop, you're going to create a model which is going to look at how you could develop a project. So, I don't know. Name a company. Name a company. Name a company.
Like a random company?
Yeah, existing company.
I don't know, maybe like...
You got a company?
Yeah.
What's your company?
My company is Finance Media.
Finance Media.
Finance Media.
Fire Ant.
Yeah.
Okay. Name another corporate company, another big company.
Unilever.
Unilever. Okay. So that's the idea. So think about a company, or think about an organisation or a group or a museum or anybody, anything you want to work with. But the best place to start is what model of interaction was interesting for you from what we talked about already, and then come up with an example of a company and then design a creative interaction. That's basically the job. Okay? Is that clear, you guys? You want me to say it again? Okay. So between the groups, think about, I'm going to, just a second. You guys are off. You right? You know what you're doing? Yeah. Yep. Do you? Do you want me to say it one more time? All right. Okay. So I don't know, but there's got to be a moment in my life where I haven't thought of the idea. So I've got to wake up and go, oh, I want to do another engagement, right? Often it can be that I meet someone, like the bank guy we met last night. It can be that we meet someone and go, oh, he's the head of a bank, we can have a big chat to him. We can design something inside the bank. Think about a spark of an organisation that's on your mind that you could think about, oh, there's something that I could do something with that group. So one of you is going to come up with an organisation, and the next minute you're thinking, what could we design as a creative... Sometimes they use the word intervention into that company. I don't like the word intervention because it sounds like it's too full on. I like to use the word collaboration or engagement. So think about a company where you might think, oh, hi, can we do a creative project inside your organisation? And then brainstorm that and develop it a little bit so that you can explain it back to us. So you've got a bit of time.
Sure. I hope I can. Ví dụ, so I try to explain in Vietnamese a little bit. Một cái chỗ rất là đẹp, một cái chỗ mà có thể mọi người nhìn thấy, mọi người tò mò là một ngày nào đấy mình sẽ muốn bước vào đây, muốn làm một cái gì đấy. Ví dụ như là năm ngoái thì lễ hội sáng tạo Hà Nội đã mở cửa nhà máy xe lửa Gia Lâm, là một cái chỗ mà hàng ngày chỉ là làm công việc sản xuất các đầu máy, bảo trì máy móc. Nhưng vì nó là một cái không gian rất là đẹp dưới góc nhìn của các nghệ sĩ. Và một ngày thì cái ban tổ chức của lễ hội sáng tạo gõ cửa nhà máy và bảo chúng tôi muốn làm việc với nhà máy. Và khi mà có những cái cuộc họp đầu tiên thì nhà máy họ rất là happy vì có những người sáng tạo đã đến để nói chuyện. Ví dụ như vậy. Thì bây giờ các bạn nhìn là các bạn thấy là có một cái chỗ nào đẹp hàng ngày mình đi qua, một cái công ty nào rất là cool mình muốn đến làm việc, hoặc là một cái địa điểm, một cái venue, một cái công trình kiến trúc, một cái cá nhân nào đấy mình rất muốn làm việc cùng. Và đây là cái lúc là để mà mình nghĩ xem là làm thế nào để tiếp cận với họ và design ra một cái project, một cái phương cách để mà tiếp cận và làm việc được với họ. Một cái sự gợi ý thì Mọi người đã có câu hỏi gì không? Do you have any questions? That, okay. Thank you.
And you've got 10 minutes, 15 minutes to look through all the stages. You've got some notes on the board. Yeah. Who loves it? No one. No, I've got that. Okay, can you hear me okay? All right. What we're going to do now, I'm really hoping to finish on time, but we might run a few minutes over. Can you hear me, Lee? Is it on? Yeah. Oh, okay. What we might do is just thank you for saying that there's some interesting conversations. It might be that you want to report your idea, but others might just want to report the types of things you were talking about. So we're not really measuring the response in any critical way. We just like to hear what you've come up with. So I might start with this group if somebody wants to volunteer to unpack what you've done. Who's going to do it?
Oh my God, my drawing is so small. But hi everyone. In this group, we have a kind of a diverse creative practitioner here. We have a teacher. We have a girl whose uncle is owning a factory that recycling paper to make joss paper. So that is the business that we've been discussing on. So thinking about paper, thinking about joss paper is something that we make that the end product is to burn, right? So the end product is for a religious ritual. So, but I think there would be interesting. There would be an opportunity to maybe making art from the joss paper, to kind of maybe instead of burning it for our ancestor, we can make something for ourselves, for the worker in that factory, that enhance their kind of social life in the factory. So that's one thing. The activity number one that we think about is to gather the worker in the factory and have them making art from that joss paper, and then the product, the art will be be maybe an exhibition installation that they could put the art in the factory. We did think about that because Jane mentioned that one of her work in the factory like that. But then we also discussed about when we think about one day one day in the life of the worker, they would be commuting from their home. Maybe and a lot of factory in Vietnam, they have their own bus to drive to pick up their worker from the home to the factory. So there would be an opportunity to even decorating the art and in their bus and their kind of the bus stop there. So it is in a way we include all the factory worker to make something, and then that something it is everywhere in their life. There would be also opportunity, maybe joss paper is very thin. We don't really paint on it very much, but we can make folding it, make collaging image on it. So maybe there can be some kind of trinkets, very small, for them to bring home to their family and friends and even children. It is something in their home also. And there is also, because we have a professional communication student here, so we did talk a lot about the kind of the way that the factory try to employ minority groups as their workers. So there will be a opportunity to document and document their work, document their life, their story also, to really as a way to for the society to look into and to think about it. So yeah, that is.
Thank you. Hello? Thank you so much. I think they deserve a
And what I really love is that actually it's a great project that you can get started right away. I think what company wouldn't love the branding on their bus to be the object of what they make from the worker? What company wouldn't want the bus stop or the objects being inside every day? It just raises the well-being and feeling, the creative feeling and pride of the worker there. And I love your idea of doing a documentary as well. So, so many good ideas that you can pretty much get started on. And then think about how that model can be used in other companies. So you've got one example, but as a creative person, you can think, right, this is a model. I can go and knock on the door of a whole street full of factories and offer. And you might get 2 agreeing. It's just sort of a numbers game from then on. It's a bit like dating. You know, you just meet 10 people and one of them is going to be special. So it's great example. Thank you. Well done. Okay, let's go.
Hello everyone. So our group decided to choose Fela coffee brand to approach. So why we choose Fela? Because as far as we understand that Fela did have 2 key store near the museum, and then we can see how they can inspire and order the art and their business based on Vietnamese coffee and tea. So we choose that brand. And how we collaborate between creators and the business is that we for example, like we have a creators network, and that creator network can connect with one creative community representative, and that creative community can work directly with Fela on the project. So the project is for exhibition and social experience for Fela. So that means we we as a community, we propose for them a series of exhibition for Fela. And how to do that? Because we can work with company who have like production house and have like place for creator to do their artwork, and then that from collaboration with production house, creator can create their artwork and then can showcase on the exhibition with the theme of Fela exhibition on that. And if they align with our value about like being unique, artistic, based on Vietnam and something like that, and then we can like multiple that exhibition in like all brands of the Fela. So some example of that.
Nice job. Thank you. I think we're developing some good business models here. I like the way that you're thinking about yourselves as a creative collective. And did you hear about that part where if our values align, we're checking them out, we're making sure that we relate to them and our values are equal. So the model of Fela, I don't know the company, but if they didn't work out, then you've got the model that can work with another company. So there's, again, it's a bit of a, like I don't know how many fluorescent colorant companies I had to knock on the door of before the Belgian, like you just don't wake up in the morning and want to go to Belgium. They were the ones that agreed to work with me around the world. I picked that, or they picked me. So sometimes you have to get some rejection to get there, but if you don't give up, it happens. But yeah, a good collaborative project. There's also that word sustainability, not about saving the planet so much as sustaining yourself as an artist. So I think about myself as an artist, how do I get money and support myself and resources to build my practice and my business as an artist? So I use the word sustainable as in I'm sustaining myself, I'm keeping things going. And the way you've proposed several exhibitions, it's not a one-off. And what you do is we love the word pilot, we give it a crack, we go, we'll do a pilot first, we'll do a test. Then once you build the trust, then you suggest, because I don't think they're going to buy the whole thing unless you do something viable. Oh, now you know us, you trust us that we can do it. Can we suggest something? So staging is really, really helpful in this. You can have a big dream, but if you throw the big dream at them, sometimes they freak out a little bit. So tung bo, step by step, and yeah, go with the pilot. Okay, next.
I think I said we had a very rich discussion. Maybe I can quickly step you through some of that, and that will excuse some of the lack of products at the other end. So we started thinking about which company to work with, what kind of company, and we took a moment to clarify what was the assignment on that, at least for that part. And then we also thought about some ideas. So we started with, okay, factory workers have a lot of processes they have to go through. Is there some way we could use technology and creativity to spice up that, you know, for example, signing in the morning and things like that. And that got us thinking about factories. And then one of our team who lives near the Thang Long Tobacco Company in Nguyen Chai Street commented that they love the smell walking past that factory. And from that, we thought a bit about that factory. I think none of us, have been inside. One of us knew someone who had worked there. One of us is new to Hanoi, so wasn't aware of this very iconic old factory. And then we also thought about how it's meant to move, because it's in a residential area, and part of improving Hanoi's environment and cleaning the air is to relocate, you know, the train factory, the beer factory, the tobacco factory. And of course, we also thought about values and the ethics of tobacco or consumption. We thought about soft drink. We had an example of, you know, Oreo cookies put a small message on their packet about consuming mindfully. And we thought about that for a moment. And we also thought, I think, then about, you know, I think there was a curiosity about what happens in the factory. We have a lovely picture of the factory with a three-dimensional cigarette. Many of us would know that there's a huge statue of a cigarette at the front of the factory. and not to talk for too long, but we also thought about things like human beings who work there, the dignity of work, the fact that this is a very established factory, and no doubt the workers are multi-generational and they live around the factory. And so if the factory has to relocate, if it has to close, it's going to be very disruptive. So we thought a little bit about how we could maybe engage using creativity with the workers so that they could maybe tell some of their stories. We thought there might be some like objects, machinery inside the factory. It's been there for a long time. And I think we also thought, you know, there was a festival of design, of creativity design last year held at the train factory that went through a similar process in Long Bien. Posiliano came there late, so the thing that was really missing was the workers and their stories. There was this amazing built environment, all of these artists interacting with it, hanging things and framing things, and but maybe I missed that part, but I didn't see the stories of the workers, what it meant to them to work there or for the factory to close. So what did I miss? So I think thinking around the reality of work and the dignity of work, you know, what happens when things change. What else did I miss? Because we talked about some friends of ours or people we knew who had to make choices around, you know, for example, working at a tobacco factory or not, with, you know, maybe even with a good salary. And there's one more thing I wanted to say, but I can't think. Well, we have a lovely picture of the factory with someone floating on the lovely smell of the organic tobacco leaves. I hope that's enough.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. So it sounds like where the project is going, it's a cultural icon for the city, right? So it sounds like it has a deep, resonant spark. You know, the Children's Palace? So many people have like, oh, I used to go there when I was a kid, you know, and the memory of something iconic there, but also the generations of people have worked there. It could be a fabulous thing to pitch to the city of Hanoi as a project, honouring the worker, being deeply respectful of their stories, you know, get them to fund a project where you're like, okay, we've got to move, but how can we develop emblems that honour and make a memory for these people? And what's going to be left behind? And can we design an exhibition inside the new Vietnam, the Hanoi Museum, where we have a pop-up exhibition that honours this? And I can see the direct thread there. So you're all part of that team now, like we're all going to collaborate together. But it's just a lovely example. And multi-generational, it's deeply connecting with, you want to think about what is your audience if you're working in this way, and how many people can you touch. That's why I do this work, because sure, I can have an exhibition and then 50 people come, but my work, I want to try not to always be with so many people, but just to think outside of the gallery and think more in communities. So it's sort of a little bit more rewarding. Super great example. I really want to go to the factory. And yeah, how do we get inside? We can use the 6-step system. Thank you. Awesome. And also documenting it, like photography of the worker. There's I just wrote an essay in the the Journal of Vietnam Studies about the ethics of taking photos inside factory communities, because that is a big deal. So I don't usually photograph the workers in action, because it's me being in charge and like, oh, it's that whole ethical bad idea to do that. So even with permission, it's not that cool. So I always try and find the traces of how they've worked, the tools. When they get up to do their lunch, then I go in and photograph where they've been and all the lunch boxes. You know, there's ways of recording factory or worker engagement without taking their photo. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Next.
Ending and yeah, healing the broken cups kind of thing. So our exhibition deemed it to be unfinished dream. So what will, in a Lego factory. Yeah, so what will we do? So we using the material will be like the Legos, the unfinished products inside the factory, or the worn out workers' clothes, kind of uniform, or maybe like the workers' stories on the unfinished dream to be the material to invite the artist to create things on that. So what will the artist do in that project? So they will be the resident inside that factory. They will live with the workers. They will work with the workers like they live the life of the workers. So they will use the material, those material that I mentioned before, to create their work of arts, which they will have, certainly they will receive lots of comments and feedback, and of course the story from the workers inside the factories. So there will be two activities in that exhibition. It should be certainly the exhibition by the work of arts of the artist. And the second one, I wanted to connect the workers, the artists, and their families too. So the activities will be like the workers and their families. They may, for example, they will bring their kids to the factory to create their own work of arts, to like exhibit their own unfinished dream. And they will be resemble of the work of art by the artist before, so that will be the resemble for the example for what they do behind that. So the activity will be the interacting activity, the bonding activity, and also creativity enhancing. That is our project. Thank you so much.
Sounds like a very immersive project. There's a couple of things that made me think of that. One time when I was in Belgium, I contacted the local, it's like an after hours, after school care art program in the city where I was working the factory. And they didn't know the factory existed, and the factory didn't know about them. There was so much. Factories are often very isolated places from the rest of the community. And finding ways like you have of, I got my factory to donate materials to take to the kids' workshop and also adult workshops to make with the materials, so that we're familiarising and socialising the community so that they sort of start to build an awareness that they're there. I think that project can resonate like that. Also the local art school, but just slowly but surely introducing those connections is a really nice idea. I love the idea of using the old uniforms, because half the time there's probably a big bag of them somewhere, and often you'll be really surprised how little recycled material you can get out of a factory, because now they try and minimize that. So this huge big plastic factory, we could only get 2 bags, and I'm like, where's all the rest? They said, we just recycle everything. And there's a lot of surprising stories about corporate life and business when you're an artist. You think, oh, they're not like me at all, but you would be really surprised sometimes how much we have in common. Yeah. Thank you so much. That's great. Yeah. All right. Just going to wrap up now. 1 second. Get my notes. Before we wrap up, just want to get anybody's comments about the experience of collaborating together and coming up with the idea. Anyone have any feedback? What was it like? Are you sort of surprised how far you got? I'm a bit surprised how far you got. Any comments? Pardon? Oh. What do you think, sweetie? You're like our star player.
Well, I think it's pretty cool to to be in a group project for that everybody actually puts in a lot of effort for once. Yeah.
Group work at university is really boring and hard and horrible.
Yeah.
When you're doing it on a volunteer basis, it's a lot more exciting.
Yeah. So that's exciting, and I think maybe maybe going a little bit into the details of step 3. Yeah, because at first we were a little bit confused about, the process, and so we just focused on coming up with ideas as opposed to really zoning in to the getting in and getting on, reflecting back and all that. Yeah.
So you're still at the ideation, speculation phase.
Yeah, like the model of what to do.
You've done really well to get as far as you've got. Anyone else? Any feedback? I'm happy for you to come up to me later if you have anything one-on-one, because that's what we live for, isn't it, Lee? Yes. So just to recap, for artists or creative practitioners or anyone related to that field, looking for new audiences, looking for skill development, looking for resource access. It could be space, it could be human resources or material resources or social resources, or looking for a way of creative freedom to bust out of your current practice and develop something new. For artists, this can be a wonderful way to go. And I'm not saying it's not without its challenges when you're just getting going, but now there's more and more of us talking about it. And for business people or institutions, you can innovate and raise productivity in your firm by including an artist in your community or a creative person. You can engage and raise the well-being of your employees, and you can improve the cultural capital and the corporate responsibility profile of your company. So that's how you sort of make the argument to the company. We've given you a few different models. There's the industry model, which a few of you have gone with the factory model. Some of you have thought about the cultural organization model, for example, my museum work. And then there's the corporate model as well. So yeah, it's so much fun to hear you speculate and inhabit. I've got an artist who works with the Zoe paper in Ho Chi Minh City. I think, and actually, I'm not sure if it might be someone that you know already, but they come up to Hanoi and work, and that's the only material they use in their practice. So I really want to connect with you. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up there. But thank you to Lee for being so supportive. She's my silent partner. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jane, for a very inspiring session. And I love all your projects here, the great ideas. I'm thinking next year the Hanoi Creative Design Festival will be on, and I have your contacts, and also you have the contact of the festival. So if you want to go on and develop a project, that's wonderful. Let us know, because we can help you in some way. At least we can connect you, or we can let's do that. Let's make it into a real project. Let's keep that in mind and come back and develop it.
And you didn't think you're going to walk out of here with 4 projects, but you have.
Yeah.
So it's all about potential. So the artist just sets up potential and gives the company something. What we leave behind is the potential for a creative practice. So we don't have to promise them the world. We're just there to be a creative catalyst to show the potential of trying new things and working with community. Just think about that word. You don't have to promise too much. Just say, I'm here just to raise a creative atmosphere in your company.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody. That's really great
Thank
work.
you.
I loved it. Really great. Awesome. Okay, you're off the hook.
Yeah, cảm ơn. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye. If you want to get in touch, please email me. Anybody's welcome.